big component of cannabis legalization is the activists who, of course, push it. And a lot of these people come from places where they have nothing to lose. If you are an integrated member of society, you're not thinking about dying on the hill of cannabis legalization.
A lot of lost souls found their way to this university. One of them was Dale Sky Jones.
This was fantastic, thoroughly interesting telling of the sort of the genesis and the development of where we are today as far as cannabis is concerned. I knew some steps were taken. It started with decriminalization. Yeah, I had no idea the thoroughly delightful and full of character background that was behind it all. I wasn't aware of Richard Lee, so this doc does a great job at just putting that all together in a nice, tidy, easy to digest kind of way. All the information's there, all the drama, all the struggle. It works really well inside this documentary. I could imagine this as a feature film quite easily, again, because it just has all those elements that I think we just all find compelling. And it's a great story. It's something we're all aware of to some degree or another. Marijuana is certainly here to stay. So yeah, I thought the documentary did a great job putting it all together. From end to end, even the post credit sort of what you call epilogue or what have you. It was really great. Even that felt like right out of a movie. The whole thing really thoroughly enjoyable.
American Pot Story. I really, really appreciated this. I thought this was really educational, and for something that is such a large industry, or is growing into such a large industry like the cannabis industry is, it's really, really interesting to go back and kind of see the evolution of it and really get the history behind it and just how much time and effort and risk it took to get there, especially for these very, very big, influential kind of pioneers, and getting to hear the full truth of their story, what Prop 19 was, even though it failed, how influential it ended up becoming, and the kind of almost domino effect that it had, because after that, then you saw it legalized into other states, and then back to California, and then from there, it's just slowly spread and spread and spread. So I think it's a really, really fascinating to go back and, like I said, see the history, but also see like the timeline that they presented and how long change like this takes, and how much behind the scenes, how much effort and like work and, doing all of this background stuff that you don't hear about, especially if you're not involved in it. And I think that one of the things in history that we often don't see, especially with change like this when it occurs, is we don't see what the actual full timeline is. We only see like the big parts of it, and I think a lot of people would have just kind of assumed that it really started with Prop 19 and then just, a few years later, it passes, and that's not the history of it. It starts well before that. And so getting to the education and the legacy of Oaksterdam University and learning about what that was and what it was trying to achieve and how like truly pioneering and the first of its kind it was, and going from there and getting the details of it. And I think that that's the best way to kind of honor the legacy of really telling the full story and making sure you're getting all of it, not just the highlights that people kind of just glaze over and give. And I think that this film did a great job of truly honoring a legacy by telling its full story.
This was a very informative documentary. It really puts the history into it and how selling pot kind of revolutionized Oakland and starts a movement across the country, across the United States. It does show a movement. It's very informative. I like some of the background stories of like Dale falling in love with her husband and then having children, where it shows that life continued going on as they tried to fight. This is an activist film. If it was supposed to change minds, it didn't change mine. I've known too many people who've died due to drivers smoking marijuana, and that was all that was in their system. My neighborhood stinks now. It's not going to change my mind on it. I think it should remain illegal. So it didn't really change an opinion, but it is informative historically. It shows the historical movement and how it is revolutionizing and putting taxes for the tax incentive, where it's building up a neighborhood and making things better again for people. Like I said, as an activist film, if they wanted to change opinions, it didn't. It's just an informative historical documentary that's going to have its place in history, and only the future will see what happens about legalizing marijuana federally or not. But it really goes forward with, I did like the historical part. I really like the background story showing who these people were. That they weren't just activists. They were human beings. A mom, a speaker, someone trying to run the school. It was quite interesting.
I found the American Pod documentary very interesting because it features a subject of which I had zero clue. I had no idea about these events, this group of people, and it was very interesting to know how marijuana came to be legalized in the United States, especially because there was a huge effort from a large group of people that went through a lot of trouble. They went through a hell of experience trying to make it happen. I mean, it's very admirable to see how committed they were trying to make this happen, and it's heartbreaking to see how society attacked them over and over again, how the government, how religious figures, they all were against them, how even people made fun of them. It was a hell of an experience, wasn't it? And I think that if people doesn't know about this, like myself, they can appreciate what they have. They can appreciate the rights we have. I think that one of the things that younger generations need to do is to learn about how some of our rights came to happen, how some of our privileges came to be, and a documentary like this is going to be very illustrative, very educational. I think it's very well made as a film project, and I was as a Mexican person, I was surprised to see Mexican President Vicente Fox working with these people. I had no idea about this, so that's how educational this documentary can be. I quite like it. Yes, it was very well made. It's very intense. You feel for these people. It's very emotional. So yes, it was a great documentary, and thanks for letting us know how marijuana came to be legalized and all the effort that it took.